welcome to Indiana Mat's Semi-State Wrestling Talk. I'm Joe Caprino. I have Mike Reiser, the man of the rankings. Oh, better do that. Here, ready to talk wrestling. And now I have to authorize my Facebook here. Anyway, go ahead, Mike. How was your weekend?
It was good. I know everyone was waiting on the delay. We were going to start at 8, but we got a letter from the IHSA to hold the show.
Yes.
It was great. I helped broadcast the Hobart Regional. A lot of good matchups. A couple upsets, rankings-wise. But overall, you're just kind of doing the broadcast and checking the posts throughout the day. Seems like there's a lot of good wrestling. Obviously, we're getting to that time of the year where if you're at this level, you're pretty good. Then the next round, like the next 2 rounds are obviously single elimination. And if you make it through there, you're state qualifier. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's the fun time of year. We got brackets. We had to go through some rigmarole to get them. Shook some people down, but my last name's Caprino, so I know how to do that. So we have lots of fun stuff here. I want to make sure the comments work because no one's commenting yet. I'm surprised they're not. Come on, people.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the brackets weren't supposed to be released till tomorrow, and Joe found a way to get in there and get all that stuff going. And they were there. It's just you got to put it together. I know there were some skeptical people, some skeptics.
Yes.
But they came out good. I mean, obviously, there's always going to be some tough draws with a single class blind draw. You're always going to have a couple where you're just like, wow. And I think you ended up getting those like Sunday afternoon, right?
Yes, I did. Oops, there we go.
Sunday afternoon, we didn't do the live look-in show because, man, we were there were some ones where I'm just like, man, that is a brutal draw.
Oh,
Troy Hahn already said hello once.
Yeah, no,
He sent me a text. Like right when we were getting ready to start, I said we're starting just because Troy asked.
Yep. When Troy says so, we go. Yeah. Now the brackets. I was actually getting ready. I wasn't expecting them to come out, so I was going to do some stuff with the family, going to the RV and camping show, dreaming about buying a $500,000 RV to travel Indiana and cover wrestling. And then I got the call that, hey, we can get them. So made a couple calls to actually get the brackets, and then went old school style, got the formula, and went from there to put everything in and make sure everything was right. And I crossed my fingers I didn't have any mistakes. If it is, blame Excel. I can send you the names of the Microsoft programmers to be upset with. But we got great brackets, and then after we got them first out, went back, added rankings and all the other details. So now you have no reason to lose at Pick'ems. No one does. I mean, because the rankings are right there. You can see them right there. Rankings somewhere. Some of these guys have rankings on them. So yeah, that's going to make the Pick'ems. Join the Pick'ems contest. It's sticky at the top. You're going to lose to Mike or even Caleb and all those people because they're always at the top.
Always up there. We were just talking about, like, there's always, like, the same 4 in, like, the top 10 always. It's me, Caleb, Spires, Caleb Sprunger, and I feel like McGill always does a really good job, too, Eric McGill. So
Yeah. We'll see how good he does this year. I don't think he's going to do very well. Let's see if he's watching. No, but, yeah, we got brackets, so my life would be totally I don't know what I'd be doing right now because not having the brackets just drives me nuts. And as a coach and as someone that wants to promote the sport, you got to be able to promote the sport. We got to be able to have we all have full-time jobs, so just doing this is a lot. So we need to make sure we have a lot of time to put together previews, talk about this stuff, and bounce like, holy cow, what's going on? So we are going to go over East Chicago and Fort Wayne tonight, and then I don't know. We'll decide exactly probably afterward, probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Figured out when we're gonna have the other two, Newcastle, the South, Newcastle and Evansville. There's some brutal draws everywhere. So, anyway, you want to start off at 106. And I do. Oh yeah, we do have to have a public service announcement. We'll have to double check, but I'm fairly certain there's only one place where you can get a perfect bracket at 195. If that's my from my quick perusing of the brackets. So, if you are a ranked wrestler and you lose to an unranked wrestler in the ticket round, don't come to state. Mike's gonna hunt you down. Okay, just so you guys know that. Don't lose if you're a ranked guy. He wants a perfect bracket. He's gonna get a bonus
at 195. Everywhere else, like, throw it out the window. But 195, like, we're good.
Yes, yeah. And if you're an unranked guy and you knock off a ranked guy, you better not come Friday night. Mike's gonna be watching you. So no, we always want the upsets. You know, that's always good to see. And you know, if you're wrestling well, you deserve it. Rankings are for promotion purposes and give guys. You know, there's always the upsets every year, whether it's sectional, regional, semi-state, state, whatever it is. That's what makes what makes sports, period, fun to watch.
Right.
So
I already got told that they're gonna break a bracket and Moet, and great. I said, you know, don't just stop at the state. They run that thing, go for the first unranked wrestler to win a state title. Go for it.
Yep.
You know, that I find, like, obviously we're fans. I mean, you're a coach first, but I'm a fan first, and that's what makes the sport exciting for me is when you get those big upsets. But you know, this is more results driven. I mean, obviously everyone says it's my opinion. We had 207 or 280 ranked wrestlers. Is that right? And 277 of them are going to be competing at the semi-state level. So, and 2 of them were injuries.
Yes.
So
another one. Someone should have told me something about the kid that he thought, because he's a coach and he's someone I know, and we're gonna have a good little talking to this weekend. So, just so you know, yeah. But that's pretty good just to get the semi-state. A lot of tough sectionals, regionals, and obviously 2 of those guys. You know, Rose and Herb were guys that would probably be punching their tickets to state if they weren't injured, and
right.
So, and like even Herb was a really interesting story. He already had surgery scheduled for like Monday of this past week, and Monday or Tuesday, and he wrestled sectional to help his team try to win a sectional title. That's pretty cool. So
yeah, I think morally I look, and I think people ask me all the time if I get upset about that kind of stuff, and I don't. I think more I look at the percentage of medalists, which is always really high. There's not a ton of medalists that we didn't have ranked. I mean, every now, I think 1 or 2 times a year we'll have a matchup of 2 guys that were unranked that on a Friday night, which is crazy, you know, just because whether it be like, you know, we weren't getting a lot of results or they didn't have, like, you know, very strong results of the year, but I mean, that speaks to coaching. It's about peaking right now. You know, I know if Nick was here, he would tell us about Danny Abu Shihab. You know, I'm sure he wasn't ranked as a senior, and I think he had 20 losses, and they got him through to the state finals. So
yeah, those are always the fun stories to see. Who was it? Mappus. Mappus. We always, the first 2 years he qualified for state, like 15 plus losses. So his junior and senior year, his junior year he took a couple of losses, and we're like, oh, he's got to get up to his 15 match losses minimum here, and you know, he has to lose to a few guys that he shouldn't lose to, and you know, make his way to state and make his way to the state semifinals and such. So yeah, it's always fun to see those stories and always fun to watch those kids wrestle. So without further ado, we're gonna go over the 106-pound bracket here. Might say a little bit of kind of who we're thinking are the head of the class here. I don't know if Mike wants to do his predictions or not, but at the same time, it's.
I always post that on the board, and then I have to like make 3 or 4 different predictions because obviously, you know, you meet a lot of different people, and you always get that like, hey, like, yeah, I'm proving you wrong. Like, it's okay, man, sorry. I think that the bracket played out pretty well. I think the only one where I really see, I mean, that's Stefan Roberson and Ruben Padilla. Ticket round match is tough. Those are 2 ranked wrestlers. Ruben Padilla, 5 losses on the season, lost to Malik Hall in the finals. I think he lost to Malik Hall in the finals of Lake County. He lost in the finals of the regional. I know he took a couple losses at the Al Smith, so those are 5 pretty legit losses. It's not like, so freshman season, and Stefan Roberson, 2 losses, 1 to Jacob Cotty, or not Jacob, Jacob Cotty, right?
No, not Jacob.
Cotty.
Alex.
Alex Cotty. Jacob Cotty might be able to get him too. Alex Cotty and Suhas Chundi. So, but you'll have the 2 higher ranked wrestlers with Roberson and Cernus on the same side, and Cernus hasn't. I don't think he's really lost in Indiana. I know he lost in Ohio. I think he lost one up when they went another spot too. And then Malik Hall, kind of like the Al Smith, is split away from those guys. So I know he was. It was Cotty and Roberson in the semis over there at the Al Smith, and Malik Hall just ran it right to the finals and. Kind of the same thing. That top bracket does not have a ranked wrestler in it.
No, it does not. There we go.
Jeffrey Bailey had a bad day at the regional. Obviously, he has 4 losses. His first 2 losses were to Ruben Padilla, and then he lost to Malik Hall, and then he lost to Raekwon Perry of Portage in the 3rd and 4th place match. So he's definitely a dangerous wrestler. I know he did a lot of wrestling this summer. I thought Luke Stenos looked really good. I haven't seen a lot of Dominic Skis from Lafayette Central Catholic.
Yeah.
But Jeff Bailey, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't think River Fort. They had Bradley Groover a couple of years ago. So
yeah,
not a ton of wrestling history there, but
yeah, he actually got a little bit better draw by getting into 4th. The fun of the draw, getting 4th versus getting 2nd or 3rd, where he's running into Cernus or Roberson. So
yeah, not only do you not have a ranked wrestler, you don't have a semi-state ranked wrestler in there either.
Yeah,
I think Jeff Bailey fell right outside the top 10 when we did it.
Yep. So that's a pretty good looking bracket. The top guys were all separated. That bottom half has a lot more of the semi-state ranked guys there. So it should be a fun bracket there. Cernus, he's gonna get his first real big test in Indiana. There, so that should be interesting to see how well he is there. So 113, top of the bracket, returning state champ Jacob Moran, and then you got ranked guys here. That second one doesn't have a state ranked guy, but they're all semi-state ranked. That's gonna be a pretty good one. 5, 6, and 7. Brody Fogarty had a good sectional regional one in both, so he's put himself in pretty solid position.
Right, and I think if you were seeding the regional champs, it worked out really well too. If I were personally seeding it, you would have Moran 1. I think you would have Diaz 2, and then Callan Regan 3, and then you slip Martin Cruz in there with Callan Regan, which would be a great match. Kind of tough one. Andreas Russi had a really good regional. He had Martin Cruz. I think it was 8-0. In the first period for Rusty on Martin Cruz.
Oh, jeez.
And if you watched the he caught him in a cradle and turned him twice. But Martin Cruz is a guy, like, if you're not putting him way early, like, he's going to make a comeback. So, and his 3 losses are to Moran twice and Zeke Seltzer at the finals with Al Smith. So, Callan Regan's only loss is to Giovanni Diaz. So, that should be a really good one right off the bat. In the ticket round.
Yeah,
looks good.
That's a pretty good lower half of that bracket once again. But like you said, that looks like everyone was kind of separated. The better guys were all separated equally, which is nice to see. And you always pray with the bracket gods that is going on there. Obviously, the head of the class, Jacob Moran, but he's going to be pushed throughout the day. So should be a good weight class there. Good.
Fogarty has really turned it on. That's a good 4. I mean, none of those guys were in the state rankings, but Fogarty's really turned it on the last couple of weeks, winning the sectional and the regional. I know he split with Tatini. Jake Armstrong was a state qualifier 2 years ago. Pinned Sean Hollis. I want to say he pinned Ty Haskins first round when he was a freshman, and then pinned Sean Hollis in the ticket round. So he qualified through there. So he qualified as a sophomore. Hasn't been back, and then Trevor Shammer from Hobart. They had a good day Saturday also at the regional, so that's a good 4. I mean, some big time schools: Mishawaka, Hobart, Crown Point.
Yep. Moving on. Crap, messed these brackets up. You got Riley Bedich up there. I just put these brackets together so he looked a little bit better. You got Riley Bedich at the top, and then you have He'll have a good one with Vince Sparrow, most likely, or Christian Padilla. Going down a little bit more broken up. Jace Alexander has Tyler Brubaker from McCutcheon, both Brubaker's 8th in the semi-state. I'll let you talk because you do a lot better with these guys.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Brubaker and Jace Alexander returning state qualifier also. And then you got Finnerty. Finnerty got a pretty favorable draw. It's not a split. Then you got a real tough one in that bottom quarter, and that's like your first. Regan and Cruz is going to be a good one. Cruz hasn't got over the hump yet at the semi-state. He's come in with some pretty. I think they thought he was going to get out 2 years in a row, and he's kind of lost in the ticket round. Tolan and Haskins, that'll be a good one. Those guys have a pretty good rivalry. Haskins looked awesome against Padilla in the final. He got a tech fall in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something. And Danny Tolan always finds a way, always tough. The 2 losses to Bedic. He has a loss to Littell, and he had one more at the Al Smith. I would have to think about it for a second, but I know he had one like after he lost to Littell in the semis.
Yeah. No,
maybe the Northridge kid. Is that Beasley? I think Beasley beat him.
Beasley or yeah. I would have to look it up, and I really can't. It's
good. But overall, I thought this one got spread out pretty well too. You figure Finnerty and the winner of Haskins and Tolan definitely would be like that semifinal. So that one worked out pretty well. That Haskins and Tolan match is going to be big. For team points too. Portage has the horses to kind of run and get out there with Moran and all those guys. Actually, like 13, 20, 26, 32. They're really solid. 60. They can definitely score a lot of points. So they're going to need guys like Ty Haskins to get through there.
Yeah, definitely. That's big points, and we'll dabble a little bit on kind of the team race. You'll probably have a little bit better grasp on it than I will here. Darn it, messed these brackets up. Anyway, they are better online. 126, Brennan Mark at the top. Him and Juan Maldonado, both only semi-state ranked guys there. I haven't even really looked at these to tell you the truth, but Evan Berg on the next quarter bracket.
Beasley beat him.
Yeah.
Got that one.
Then the bottom always seems to be the tougher part, where you see all the best guys. You got Brock Peel, Logan Hill, 2 ranked guys potentially meeting up, and then Jesse Mendez has a pretty favorable draw, but he does have 2 juniors and a senior there. That's they're not gonna go easy with a freshman, that no matter how good he is.
Yeah, Trevor Penrod, I thought's had a really nice career for South Bend Riley. He had a really bad tri-cough. I don't know if he was injured. I just didn't know he had a really bad day. We were kind of, obviously Logan Hill can play spoiler here. He's a returning state qualifier. Matt Davis is tough. But the loser of that semifinal match between Mendez and Peel could possibly end up being a Friday night with the loser of the Curtis and Watts, because they're opposite side. That'd be a 2-3 Friday night. That would be brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, and if my calculations are correct, Fort Wayne and East Chicago do meet up quite frequently on Friday nights, a little bit more than they should, per my statistical knowledge. But that looks like
so. That one should probably be the final. That was a pretty good match at the DAC, but then you get a guy like Brennan Mark who's turned it on the last couple of weeks. I think he beat Juan Maldonado at the Al Smith, but I think for Juan, and kind of touch on the team race, Maryville sent in 14 guys, and I think they've had a bunch of guys in the finals. They're going to need points from guys like Juan Maldonado to maybe get one over Brennan Mark there. But Mishawaka's going to be looking to score big points. And Evan Burge and Nathan Shammer's been wrestling really well. I like Evan Burge. He's an IndianaMat fan. We gave him a shirt at the Harvest Classic. He's been wrestling well, 42-3. I know they did the Northmont. So
yeah, that's it.
Should be pretty good.
He got put in a good spot there to get the state there. 132. Yeah, Jeremiah Brooks up top. He has a tougher first round match with Adam Ahmed from Highland, and then Ethan Kaiser in the ticket round. Rookie Hegedus has a pretty solid way through. Eli Hickman, he is semi-state ranked, I believe.
He was a semi-state champ 2 years ago too.
Yeah, that is wrong. The brackets online, if you download them, do have his correct ranking. I did update that later in the day, so I did see that. And then Nate Hattery, who's pretty tough. That'll be a good ticket round match. And then Moreno, and you have all these guys, and then you have 2 ranked guys hitting in the ticket round. Moreno and Reese Rodriguez, Moreno's been to state twice, or just once?
Once for sure. He medaled last year, and Reese was a state qualifier as a freshman and sophomore.
Yeah, so that's going to be a tough out for one of those seniors who were both really good wrestlers, really scrappy guys. So that's one that we need to mark up, just the brutal ticket round matches.
Oh yeah, that one's both super good wrestlers. That's just like one of those ones you kind of cringe at. You're just like, man, like that is awful. But I know both those guys are gamers. Rodriguez and Hegedus had a good match. That's Rodriguez's 2 losses are to Hegedus. Hattery, I thought, looked good at the Al Smith. He was his first matches back. Yeah, right off the bat, they drew him out of the hat, and I think he had Logan Bailey first match.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, man, like that is brutal. Piotski's been wrestling well for Maryville. Jacob Carter, I think he's up a couple weights. But Hickman, Hattery should be good. I think Hegedus put himself in a good position. I mean, obviously, that was a tight match at the regional. Like, winner kind of, you don't know the draw, but if you win the regional, you get a much easier draw than Andreas Moreno,
Yeah. He has a motor that keeps going.
And Jeremiah Brooks is a beast, man. He is tough. Yeah. He's just an all-action guy, exciting. He's going to make it fun to watch on Saturday.
Yes. Who did he wrestle in the – was it him and
Gimson, right?
Gimson, yeah. Yeah, they get after it. He's fun to watch. So, moving on, 138, Anthony Rivera at the top here. Victor Spikes. That's a good name. Christian Ponce, Gabe Weeks. That's a pretty solid top quarter bracket. You have number 2, 5, and 10 for semi-state. How's a number 2 semi-state guy not ranked in the state? Come on.
I know. I gave too much love to the Evansville semi-state. I was loving them. Did you see all the ranked guys there? Yeah. I think Gabe Weeks spent a little time in there. Obviously, 10 losses, a little bit tougher. There's 9 other guys in there. You got to find past those guys.
Yeah, you can't even. I think there's 2. You only ranked 1, or I guess there's two ranked guys in the state. There, come on. We have to complain about all these rankings and how one guy's ranked higher in the state than he is the semi-state.
I know. I do that. Sometimes I like to do that when I do them on different times and different days. So whatever. A lot of the ranking stuff, I just kind of take the numbers off and try to line it up the best we can, like by results, and then I put them in afterwards. So everyone's like, what are they at? I'm like, I guess they're 21. I mean, really, we could probably go like 30 deep, but you start losing it a little bit. A little bit towards the end, you start losing a little bit more. You don't see as many of the results. Like Gabe Weeks is a guy that you can kind of go back and say, okay, he wrestled all these guys, and he's obviously really tough. So Rivera, I want to say, I know Rivera didn't place at the Al Smith. Ponce has had a good season, so those are all going to be pretty good matchups. They're going to be exciting. AJ Poindexter did a ton of work this offseason. I know he started off in the semi-state rankings. He might have had him like right on the outskirts of the state rankings, but Kay Johnson obviously really tough too.
Yeah, that should be a good weight again.
Tyson Nestle is a hammer on top. That guy is really good in the top position.
Yeah. Another Wawasee stud, Braxton Alexander. That should be, pretty clear-cut 4 guys, especially the champs there, are fairly well clear-cut, which is, you don't see that too often. 145, Jake Burford at the top, number 8 ranked. He has a fairly easier to navigate through there. Next quarter bracket, Jacob Maldonado, Garrett Stuckman. Stuckman's pretty solid. Maldonado and Hollis, first round. That's going to be.
I want to say that's been an overtime match before, so I think Maldonado's taken the last two. But man, that is a tough first round draw. When I seen that Hollis took fourth at Crown Point, I said, man, someone is going to get a tough first match, and ended up being Jacob Maldonado.
Yeah, that's going to be a barn burner there. And you got Jordan Douglas. Hey, we just had an article on him on IndianaMat today.
I seen that. Well deserved too.
Yep, looking to be hit their first state qualifier, which is pretty good, cool.
He qualified last year. Looking for his first state medal.
State placer, that's what I meant. But yeah, and then you have the prototypical Portage wrestler with 12 plus losses, and you should not overlook him.
No, that kid. I think when we did the broadcast for the Trikoff, he wrestled Mosconi. He just put himself in a lot of good positions. He just looked raw, and I think that's the kind of guy that they start to shape into right now. And he looks pretty good. He's wrestling pretty well.
Yeah. Going down, you got Jeffrey Harper from Penn. That's a pretty brutal bottom quarter bracket. Number 13, 17, and 19 in the state. Daniel Park from Lake Central had a real good season. Did real well at the Al Smith, and then Isaiah Watts from Hammond Morton. That's a brutal bottom half of that bracket, or bottom quarter bracket.
Yeah, 26-3, all 3 losses to Jacob Maldonado.
Jeez.
Yeah.
They're probably not staging Christmas cards.
No. He's a goer too, man. We were talking about it early on because he's a transfer from Hammond High. He's at Morton now. When he's at Hammond High, he beat Malik Hoover one year, and then he beat Aaron Griggs last year. So I don't think he's a guy to overlook. But I think the 4 got separated pretty well. Burford and Maldonado was a really good match at the DAC. I think Burford did a really good job at the duel to kind of take it to him. But Burford, obviously 2 losses, Jonathan Kerwin and Alex Mosconi. So not anything to sleep on. He's wrestling really well.
Yeah, a lot of landmines in that weight class. 152, we have Cole Cervantes up top, Skylar Query, that first round match. Then Cervantes is going to probably hit up Colin Fritz, 37-1, number 19 in the state. I love reading the comments. I see them pop up and I just have to. But then you got Brock Ellis. He has a pretty solid draw there. Guys with 7 plus losses. Got a quarter bracket with nobody ranked in the state. Got Isaiah Mohammed and Jacob Bean from Portage, and they have 12 losses.
That'd be a good first round match. I'm excited. That's probably one of the matches I'm looking forward to. Not only because Mohammed, is it Mohammed or is it Mohammed? Mohammed's on here all the time. Does a great job with Wheeler. He's had a great career. And Jacob Bean was like a 3-year backup at Portage. I've known him since he was a little kid. Finally waited his turn to get in the lineup over there. 12 losses in that lineup is pretty good. They wrestle a lot of good guys, so that'd be a good one right off the bat. But Mohammed already told me they're breaking up the bracket. So
yeah, he's got a path to get, make it to state. The bottom quarter, Noah Holland Donor from Crown Point and Tyler Turley first round. That should be a good one. I'm sure they wrestled a few times.
Yeah, it's been good. I think the last 4 times they wrestled, they've been pretty tight matches.
Yeah. So that should be a good one. Then they drew the Logansport champ with 17-2. So
McCutcheon does the Harvest Classic. I didn't see him. I don't think he wrestled there, but 17-2. They don't wrestle a terrible schedule, so they're doing a nice job at McCutcheon.
Moving down, we'll go to 160. Matt Neff from LaPorte, Michael Garcia Penn, that's first round. And then you got Yamir Johnson from Hammond Gavitt, the other 3 semi-state ranked guys there that's going to be battling it out. Then you got the freshman Phenom, from Culver. He's got a little bit tougher draw, Braden Welch. I know he spent some time in the rankings, but he's dropped out. I know he's pretty tough, obviously. Freshman with only 7 losses. They wrestle on a pretty solid schedule. You got Taborski from Crown Point, Jacob Simpson.
Also a freshman.
Yes.
That Danny Bell trained, if Danny Bell's watching.
Yes, he is. Donnell Washington there. Cody Timmerman and Gavin Lehman. Pretty solid guys there. But then you got Brock Merkel and Abel Verbeek, number 2 in the... You got number 2 in the semi-state, not ranked again. Come on. Yeah, so number 2 and number 3 in the semi-state battling out for a spot that's state there. And then they get Donnell, DJ. So
yeah, kind of tough. DJ looked phenomenal. I mean, Jameer Johnson, he's good. He's a good wrestler. He looked good from Hammond Gavitt. He just ran into a buzzsaw, man. And Donnell was on another level. He looked great.
Yeah.
I would say he's probably one of the closer guys. I would say to a lock in the semi-state. Statewide, it'd be tough. I'd have to look at it all, but he's pretty good. I think IU's getting a good one there.
Yes, and we did close the pick'ems for the confidence picks for champions, so people can't cheat now. But we got about 75 people that are going to lose to us. So 170 this is going to be a good weight. You got Eli,
young weight too, right?
Yeah, Eli Pack, Jason Streck first round. That should be a pretty solid one. Aaron Sneed from Kankakee Valley, Aiden Sneed. Isn't he ranked? Was he ranked or no?
Yeah, I think early on he's ranked. He fell out of the semi-state rankings. And then Caleb Koval is actually really good from Twin Lakes, 23-9. He had a win over Jacob Vode, who in turn had a win over Sneed. So
that should be
that one,
interesting.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting 4 there.
Going down, you got West Central, Dalton Sizemore, Jacob Vode from Hobart, and then Graham Calhoun, who got beat by Joe Walker last week. Heard it was a pretty good match from what everyone's saying. Walker with like a late takedown, I believe, is what the word on the street is.
Graham's really good family, man. Just great people all around. So I'm sure that a loss for him is just motivation.
Yeah, and beating Walker, I guess this will be the first time they wrestled.
I thought they wrestled it. No, that's the match that Walker had hurt his knee in. Early on at the Plymouth Superdome.
Okay, so so beating him a couple times, that's gonna be tough. So that's gonna be a good little rivalry. They gotta get to each other though. This is a pretty solid weight. Obviously, the Penn Regional with Walker, Calhoun, and Pack is pretty solid. That's one you don't want to really draw into. You got bottom quarter Josh Warmick, and then Colin Kwiatkowski. Wow, that's impressive. That should be a good.
He's excited.
Good one.
Yeah, Aiden Sneed had a couple wins over him this year. So I think when he snuck in the rankings after winning DAC, he's pretty exciting to watch.
That's good to see. Should be a pretty good bracket.
David Sheely also pretty tough there for Warmick first round.
182. Man, this is annoying. I'm gonna kick myself for not checking these. Jack Hardigan.
If you're falling on at home.
Yes. Alex Castro from Wawasee. Castro had spent some times in the rankings, I know, but he was a 4, but actually got a pretty solid job. Noah Perez is ranked guy in that.
That's a brutal. That the Penn Regional was brutal at 182. That was tough.
Yeah. And the other freshman phenom Andrew Donahue had a real good. Did he avenge his loss to LaPlace?
No. He lost. No, he lost to Castro the week before.
Yes.
Sectional, and then had LaPlace in the semis, and he beat LaPlace 1-0.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not bad. I would say that he's not bad.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah, so that's a pretty good freshman that's beat the state semifinalist, and he was supposed to wrestle 52, I guess, from at IPO. He's supposed to wrestle 155, and now he's up at 182.
I actually heard him referred to as the Michael Jordan of wrestling before.
Yes.
But Noah Perez put himself in a good position there because really, I want to say he beat Castro at the Al Smith. But, I mean, you don't want Donahue. You don't want that draw with Evan Bates and Jacob LaPlace now. That one's brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, you got Evan Bates and Jacob LaPlace. That is because they wrestled at the Al Smith.
In the championship match.
Yes, and that's a ticket to go to state. Yeah, 3 losses between them. That's rough. That's a cringe-worthy one. Then the bottom quarter you have Walton and Noah Brown, 13 and 15 ranked there.
Yeah. Yeah, Noah Brown. That'd be interesting because I think that they're very different stylistically. So it'll kind of just be one of those matches who can kind of push their will.
Yeah. And you got 2 coaches who they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna use their seats, their chairs.
No.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting. I just watch the coaches. I don't even want to watch the wrestling. I just want to see the coach. I want to see Harper and Maldonado because they've coached against each other a gazillion times. So that should be interesting. 195, Ewan Donovan, number 2 ranked. He avenged his loss from sectional, it looks like.
Yeah, big time. I think he ended up getting a major.
Wow. He found the...
Yeah. He definitely looked out of it at the sectional. I broadcast that sectional. Patowski, we talked about it last week, is ridiculously tough. And Donovan just trying to turn it around this time. I'm sure they'll be looking for that third match between the 2 of them.
Yeah.
But that's a really good quarterfinal. I'm not sure about the Lafayette Jeff kid. I haven't seen him a lot. But Terrafin at Culver Military just got his first loss. Akinwumi has 7 losses, but I know he lost to Patowski twice really tight. He's lost to Bobby Babcock in the regional championship where he's beat Bobby Babcock. I think he lost to Bobby Babcock at the Tri-Coff too, or not the Tri-Coff, but the Al Smith. So definitely a big, strong kid that holds position really well. That's not going to make a lot of mistakes. So Donovan definitely looking to be Hebron's first state qualifier. Speaking of Attica earlier, he's their first semi-state qualifier. Now he's looking to become their first state qualifier.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's always fun. We did an article on him too.
Yep.
It's always pretty neat. Yeah, that's a pretty good quarter bracket there. And just on Donovan's side, I saw, especially this week with just a crazy week of at least up north here, school being canceled, people kids not being able to practice and all that. Sicknesses are going around. I saw a lot of, I know we've had some kids come down with some stuff, and that can obviously affect the way you wrestle. And you're wrestling someone like Patowski, and you're not 100%. He'll take advantage of it. So and he's no slouch. So that's that a little bit, like you said, he was like almost crawling back to the center, and obviously, that you shouldn't be that out of shape in the end of the season unless there's something, a sickness, a little bit of, a flu.
I think that's what they said in the article that he was sick. I didn't think that it was a lack of conditioning. I know he had beat Joey Kidwell in overtime, and we'll get to Joey Kidwell in a second. So I don't think that you're beating a guy the caliber of Joey Kidwell in overtime and being out of shape like that. So I thought it was something. I thought maybe he had got injured in the match. Thought maybe he had got there was like a scramble. I thought maybe he got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, you never know, especially this time of year. We always see it at semi-state and regional and stuff where a kid, you can tell they're not 100%. They came down with the flu or whatever, whatever it is, and they're wrestling, they're gutting it out, and some win, some. Obviously, you gotta be clicking on all cylinders at this time of the year, and there's those upsets that happen because of sickness from your body's at a little bit more at risk when you're cutting weight all year long, and this is the time of year, kissing too many girlfriends, colds and stuff. So, thank you, Wyatt. We'll never forget the alternates. So, any other comments on this the 195-pound bracket?
Yeah, Braden Oakley had some nice wins for Harrison this year. He kind of got a tough one with Rockney Hurley. That first round match with Babcock and Damian Rodriguez. Rodriguez took fourth at the regional over there. That's a ranked wrestler as a 4. But Babcock's an athletic freak, man.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore. Hobart is young, and they're really good. And then James Snyder was an 82 all year, and he kind of went up. He got his first loss at the sectional and came back and won the regional. So him and Potowski should be pretty good. I know Doomer Brum from Attica was there last year too. So Potowski Snyder should be a good one in the ticket round.
Yeah. 220. You got number 10 Drew Bailey from Maryville. They qualified at 25 for semi-state, from what I heard.
Yeah.
And then him and Berta from Penn. That should be a good one. Joey Kidwell, and then Garrett Sandifer, Mark Mummy from Hobart. I'm actually pronouncing Hobart correctly finally.
It took a couple years.
Yes. And then we got a bracket full of not even any semi-state ranked guys. Come on. HSA needs to get with us to do the brackets so we make sure we can get better brackets.
I know, man. That's part of the allure to it. But also you look at it, man, this is tough, man. This is a tough breakdown. Drew Bailey avenged his only loss on the season to Fowler in overtime at the regional. Drew Bailey lost him in the semis at the Al Smith. I like Adam Berta. I think he's really good. I like his offense, especially for a bigger guy. I thought that maybe Fowler losing kind of helped him some. I know John Thomas is a big athletic guy, and so is Fowler. But I think that he does a pretty good job against big athletic guys too. So 32-2. I think Fowler beat him at the Al Smith also.
Yeah, now that's that one quarter bracket. Everyone has 10 or 11 losses. That's just
Yeah.
And that's
DeMar Dancy has looked good for Porter's last couple of weeks. I know the guy that's been training with them, and that he's pretty high on him. Big, strong athletic kid. Stoner obviously had a good regional. He was the champ over at Crown Point.
Yep. Yeah, that should be a good weight. And that's one of the better weights. Unfortunately, you're gonna have a couple ranked guys being sent home. So we get some EPO fans. The big guys.
He's tough. He is a grinder.
Yes.
I don't know. Go check the message board. When they put in most physical wrestler, I put EPO up there. I thought the way he's a very aggressive wrestler. I think that he's definitely, I don't know what you guys think Iowa style is. I think heavy on the head, trying to score a lot of points. I think he fits that pretty well. Someone was like, Jacob Moran. I don't know if Jacob Moran really fits Iowa style for me, but
yeah. Nah, I laugh because it's the Iowa style isn't the cool style now. You gotta be Penn State.
Yeah,
you gotta be Penn State style. Jason Knopf, he's fun to watch. Bo Nickel, throw your.
We referenced that during the broadcast. Someone said, "Oh, did you watch the Penn State Indiana duel?" I said, "I did." I said, "Someone sent me a text and said Bailey got headlocked," and I said, "Well, I've been headlocked by worse."
Yes. Yeah, no, that's I find it. Who's throwing headlocks at Division I level? Number 1 team in the country. They're hitting lefty headlocks just for fun and making
Bo Nickel and Jason Knopf. They're just out there smashing guys at headlocks and doing whatever they want.
Yeah. Yes. So
making wrestling look easy.
Yes. 285. You have a semi-familiar name, Will Kreider. Not quite Donnie Kreider type things. I'm sure he does Will Kreider type things.
If being extra tall at the heavyweight and extra strong, that's just a Kreider trait. So
yes. And then he has a pretty solid first round with Brody Miskimom. Can't pronounce that. From John Glenn or whatever they want to call it. It's called 3,000 different things. Next quarter bracket, you have Yezi DeVault and Nick Garcia, 2 ranked guys. DeVault took his first loss to Cartwright from LaVille. First round there. And then you got Altria looking pretty solid in his quarter bracket.
Yeah, Alex Cartwright, and I know I talked to some guys. He's a really good heavyweight wrestler. They used to be in the Crown Point Regional. I know one year he lost to Brandon Streck in the ticket round, like in overtime. And then last year he lost to Mick Williams in the regional, and then lost to, or maybe he lost. I think he might have lost to Faulkner, and then he drew Eli Picorni. So the ticket round has not been good to Alex Cartwright.
No. So he's probably happy for this draw.
Nathaniel Duncan is a big, strong kid, moves well. Corey Hill, a freshman, is an undersized heavyweight for Portage, and he's a pretty good athlete. So it'd be interesting to see. But Alex Cartwright's the real deal. I think that I know a lot of people were saying, like, hey, don't sleep on him. He could win a state title. I think they said, has he lost on a locked hands?
Yeah, locked hands and escape. And it seems like from seeing him, he's a little raw, but he's pretty solid. He's well coached, and that's a rough way to lose. And then you're getting a little bit worse of a draw there. Him and Garcia, that should be a good one.
Yeah, I think in both those guys, Hezzy's only a junior, so he'll be back, and Garcia's had a good career. I know he's put a lot of work in.
Yeah. Moving on, we're gonna go to Fort Wayne. Crud.
Team-wise, Maryville brought a ton. Crown Point has a lot of horses, man. Portage has a lot of horses, and I think when those guys are scoring a lot of points, it's going to be difficult. So some of those early matchups are going to be really big. Same thing with Penn and Mishawaka. Mishawaka has a couple guys that should be finalists also.
Yes. Okay. Hey, we have brackets again.
Same with Wawasi. Wawasi got some really tough individuals too.
Yeah. Whoops. Hey. Sorry, I got to do my... Hey, there I am. I'm back. Yes. Yeah, that should be interesting. I know Fort Wayne's going to be very interesting in the for team state for the team race. We looked at the let me get that off my face. I was looking at it with the power poll, and Fort Wayne was, the top 10 were all, very close, so that should be interesting. Team race for, that's going to be interesting to see the team races, how they, those ticket round matches. Doesn't look like, what do you say, Crown Point, Maryville are probably and then Portage.
Yeah, Penn brought a lot, is going to bring a lot. I would say Crown Point's got the horses. Obviously you got, some guys that are for sure finalists. Maryville, I think they, and this isn't a shot at them, I think they peaked a week early last year. So let's see if they make the adjustment. I know I want to say they put almost all the guys in the ticket round last year, and then they lost a bunch of ticket round matches where like last year Streck, Hoover got through. So generally those guys make really good adjustments. Wawasi could be in the mix with Alexander, Brooks, the Alexander brothers. 82-95 is going to be big for them. Culver could, get some big points if they can get some of those guys through. Mishawaka with a place, and Walker, Mark possibly. Portage with Moran, DJ. So it'll be interesting if it's going to be a numbers game. Obviously I said Maryville brought 14, and they had a bunch of guys in the finals. They're 285, 220, 195, 182, kind of stack up against anybody in the state. They're pretty good through there.
Yeah, and it definitely could be. It's, with the way the scoring is, if they
Casey
get
Barlow, we're going to do Evansville a couple days from now.
Yeah, if Maryville won't need to necessarily get all their guys to state, but they get pins and they get wins in that first round. That's, if they get 3 or 4 of those guys to get wins or pins, that's some big points. Even if they lose in the ticket round, that'll make up for not having a guy not place. So that's the kind of thing that the tournament, you start funneling it closer. I know, just looking at how like our sectional and regional panned out. We won our sectional pretty handily, and then regional got a lot closer because you're starting to funnel all those better kids. They're starting to funnel together. It's going to be closer. So that's going to be interesting. And even Central Noble up north won regional and didn't win sectional, once you start funneling your kids, your better kids are going to be scoring more points for you, and it's going to show. So that's going to be very interesting coming the next couple weeks. Especially, I know Fort Wayne. I have a very big vested interest in that, obviously, and I think it's going to be very close. And it's going to be, these take-around matches and these, and even those guys that aren't going to place, that them winning a first-round match with a pin, that's 4 points. That's big. I think they're counting them this year. Hopefully they are, because that's dumb if they don't. That's my personal opinion. So anyway, we'll move up. Fort Wayne. Go over these fairly in depth, maybe. Up top, Isaac Rubel from Belmont, Blake Kenny. Should be a good match there. Rubel's wrestling really well right now. Belmont always does well. No, we can't start over, Jose. That should be a good one there. Next quarter bracket, Alex Ocampo, Central Noble, like we just said. He's undefeated. Colton Weimer from Garrett. He's beaten Weimer a couple times at conference and a tournament, so he has a pretty solid path there. Ocampo and Rubel should be a good match there. Any comments there, Mike?
I like that the state rankings and the semi-state rankings are next to each other to see where mine and we should put these up and see who does better. Me, just on the rankings, not on our picks. Me or Caleb. No, I agree. I think Rubel's look good, and obviously he has the kid results that you can go back and see that he's been in the mix with all those guys. Ocampo undefeated says a lot. I agree with you 100% on those first ones.
Yeah, Jared Brooks from Wabash took a loss at sectional, came back and won regional. He's the ranked guy in the next quarter bracket at number 10 and number 7. Jasper Graber, Gage Klein, that should be a good one. Pretty much identical records. And then, this is pretty well separated. Brady Lewis, you've seen him the past couple weeks. He's pretty solid. And Aiden Spray, that should be a good one. They wrestled at conference and in a duel, and I think they've split matches. I'm fairly certain they've split matches. That's what, hence the one's ranked higher in the other one rankings, the other is not. So that should be a good match. The rubber match in the at the ticket round, which is always important, is always fun there. Pretty wide open weight, really. Brooks is pretty solid. So and he lost to Kenny. Is his one loss. So Kenny and Rubel should be a pretty good match there. So some pretty good matches. Pretty well separated as far as no ugly draws, and guys are wrestling pretty well there. Okay. So I guess Sprague is 2-1 against him. So the fourth match, Lewis is trying to even it up, but that's the most important one. Any other comments there, Mike?
No, I think that it was spread out pretty well, and obviously Caleb does an amazing job. So I agree with what he's putting out there. He always does. It's pretty close. I haven't seen a ton of those guys, so the guys that I have seen, I got like Lewis, and those guys are pretty good. So
yep,
I like it. I'm excited to see that one. That's a good weight for Fort Wayne.
Yeah, at 113 we have Jet Boots from Angola. I know he lost a tough ticket round match last year. Him and Jacob Veach will be battling out there. That should be a good match. They may have wrestled at the Garrett Invite, possibly. You got Harper Deadman. That's a cool name. Ben Miller. That's a pretty good bracket. Brady Esther, then Dominic Litchfield. Litchfield Belmont's pretty solid. Esther obviously has a pretty solid name. People know, and he's pretty good. That's another, no one's sticking out in that quarter bracket from what I can tell. All pretty solid kids there. Preston Tush, he's legit. He lost a tough one in the ticket round last year. Justin Puckett, that's going to be a pretty good ticket round match there. And then Justin Brantley from Western. Tush is looking real good. Puckett's obviously pretty solid. He placed at the Al Smith, so that should be a real good match. Do you know who Tush's only losses to, Mike, or not?
I would assume it was someone at Al Smith.
Or no,
Maybe
Tush would have been at Northmont, I believe.
Oh yeah, at Northmont. I thought it was Carlton Perry. I thought they bumped up for the individual tournament, but I could be wrong there.
Yeah. So that should be a good one. And then bottom.
We have this. I can go on there and check. I have the site earmarked on my.
Yeah, I can't because then you see what I have on there. So, like, I put that there, and then you see all my Twitter stuff. The way we're doing my screen capture, we'll work on that next. Simone is who he lost to, I guess. So, the bottom quarter bracket, Isaac Weimer, ranked guy from West Noble, took a loss this past and then Landon Birch from Bluffton, that should be a good one. So, pretty good, solid bracket, top to bottom. Any comments there?
How's that idea said I look tired?
Been analyzing brackets.
No, I think that I like Preston Toich. I like Puckett. I thought Puckett looked really good at the Al Smith. Like I said, I don't get to see a ton of the guys through the year from the Fort Wayne. I see a lot of the region guys, and then we go to some of the bigger stuff. But like I said, Caleb does an amazing job. I know that I thought Puckett looked really good. I thought the guys down low for Northridge all looked really good. I thought Northridge did a really nice job. I see my guy, we'll get there, but I see my guy Couchka got a regional championship.
Nice. Who's that?
I think he's 195. I think there's two of them. I think there's a 220 and a 195. Ah. But he was like one of those kids like, hey, you're mispronouncing my name. This is how you say it. And I said, that doesn't look like Couchka, but I'll go with it.
Nice.
Jet Boots is always tough. He's been in all the rankings. I thought Eli Johnson had a nice season for Norwell, too. I thought he had some really good results. So I'm excited to see that Norwell, Eli Johnson, Jacob Veach, the winner gets Jet Boots.
Yeah. Moving up, 120. There was quite a few upsets here in Fort Wayne. I know a couple of the semi-state ranked guys went down on Saturday morning. Bo Humphrey, Snyder, he's wrestling pretty well. He looked really good this weekend. Ethan Higgins from Wabash, he's pretty solid. And Rasheed Bonds had some good wins. So that should be an interesting quarter bracket there. Humphrey had a heartbreaking loss in the ticket round last year, so hopefully he'll be back wrestling well there. Going down, Cade Zadlik, Darren Cool. That should be a rematch from conference. Chandler Sissel is pretty solid. Zadlik's looking really good this year. I know he's kind of been under the radar. And
I think he creeped up to number 10 at one point. Then he lost to the Belmont kid. I think he just got put out.
Yeah, right? Carter Thomas. Yep, he got
Carter
beat.
Thomas was his only loss.
Yeah, so yeah, that was his only loss, and then he moved back up, and yeah, he that was his only loss. Zadlik usually kind of lays under the radar, and then you kind of remember him about this time of year, like, oh yeah, he's pretty solid. Yeah, that should be a good one. Aiden Hardcastle, John Robinson. That's a decent quarter bracket there. You know, number 4 and number 9 in the semi-state. And then another Northridge lightweight, Evan Beasley, Chandler Shear, Tony Abbott. Yes, that is Tony Abbott, the Muncie South Legend's son. So he'll probably have a headlock. I'm pretty positive, from Cowan. Cowan's newer program. I know they've had a few guys, but so that program is going to be pretty solid pretty soon here.
Yeah, I thought Evan Beasley looked really good at the Al Smith also. Number 1 in the semi-state, number 12 in the state. Had some really good wins. That 120 weight was nasty. And he's kind of been, this is his 4th time going to the semi-state. I know he's been in the mix. I've seen his name in the semi-state before. So with Northridge getting back to Al Smith, that was my first time seeing those guys this year. Aiden Hardcastle has been right there. Obviously, I'm guessing that's the brother of the other Hardcastle that was at Oak Hill also.
Brody, I would assume so. I'm fairly
definitely. John Robinson had some good results. I thought Ethan Higgins had some really good results this summer. So I'm not surprised by his 28-2 record. And him and Bo Humphrey should be a good one. So definitely a lot of younger guys in that weight. So the future looks bright coming out of 120. 120 is kind of like that catch-all weight across the state. You get some of those 6s and 13s, some guys that stay down. So
yeah, that should be good. It should be a good weight. There's Zadlik and Humphrey. Humphrey was a 126 last year. He's a pretty solid, pretty big kid now at 120. So that should be interesting right there for him.
In the semi, or?
That'd be finals. Him and Zadlik.
That'd be the final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be semis. Yes.
That's semi. Yeah.
Yep. I misread that.
And you got Beasley on the other side. So.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a good weight. That'd be. 120 across the state's really good.
Yeah. 126. You got Hayden Shepard from Western, number 5.
Wait.
And then Towner.
A Shepard at Western.
Yeah, that's rare. It's first. It's like. Even though Belmont has no Bakers in the lineup, which is illegal, they should be kicked out of the IGSA for that. Yes, Western does have Shepherds, lots of them. They have lots of kids. So,
thank you, Jenny Deadman.
yes. Shepard and Tanner Johnson, right there, that first round match, that should be interesting. Norwell wrestles. They wrestle in the Northeast 8 with some good kids, and Johnson obviously wrestling with, I'm fairly certain, his brother, and then you got Zadlik as a wrestling partner. So that's always, gonna make a kid better. Shepard obviously has some good practice partners also. So then you got Kyler Brown, Evan Ulrich. I pinned Ulrich 6 times today, so he might not win.
I think you got a couple pounds on him.
2 or 3. We're going off. I wrestled 112 my senior year, so he's 14 pounds heavier. So, and then the next quarter bracket, some Bratton Curtis. Anyone hear of him?
Yeah.
He's decent.
Yeah. Only the guy riding the longest winning streak in the state.
Yes. Yeah, he's won a few matches. He's pretty tough. The bracket gods did separate Watts and Curtis, which is nice that they weren't wrestling in the semis. But also, like you said earlier, they could run in. The loser there could run into a tough East Chicago Friday night match there. Curtis has a pretty clear area. I know personally for my kid that got second, you knew there was one good draw, and he got it, luckily. So the bracket gods were on his side.
Tough draw for Payne Blackburn. He's a junior. He'll be back, but he's wrestled so tough this year. He had some really tough matches with Curtis. I know at Mooresville for sure. I'm sure of his, what is he, a 6? Probably 3, maybe 4 of those are to Curtis.
Yeah, I think they're in the same conference and they wrestle a lot. So yeah, he's had quite a few, and I think that he wrestled at Mooresville. So yeah, he has a lot of those losses are to Curtis. So
then you get, you've been wrestling Curtis all year. It's like, man, cool, I'm gonna get away from Curtis. Now I got Hunter Watts for a ticket.
Yeah, and then bottom half or bottom quarter, you got Ian Heath, who's looking really good. Alex Curry from Adams Central. The Heath's tough. He's kind of sneaky good. Him and Watts in the semis, and then obviously possibly the Watts and the and Curtis finals match. Excuse me. Should be a good one.
We should get a live stream on that.
But yeah, I know that usually they do. There are some live streams, so we'll see how it's going there. I'll try to tweet those out, put something together. As far as the places that are going to be live streaming videos, which is nice. Yeah, that Curtis Watts match, kind of a little bit of a contrast in style. Curtis, he'll just plug away and pick his spots, and he's fine winning 2-1 or 10-1. He's not. He doesn't panic. So Watts is pretty solid also, and they're both going to be 4-time placers most likely. Been the championship match. Both have been championship match twice. Pretty good wrestlers. So it's going to be a fun match to watch.
Yeah. Man, Watts is so good with that wizard defense. It's crazy. That was the one thing I took away from the match with Mendez at Dallas Smith, was how good he was and how comfortable he was in that wizard position.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's a big 26. And Curtis is gonna be a little bit smaller, so that's gonna be a little bit more interesting. You know, Curtis obviously he's been wrestling up, so he's been seen wrestling those bigger guys. I know that Payne Blackburn's a pretty good size 26, so that's obviously wrestling him. That might be a little bit of the reason why some of those matches are a little closer. And Blackburn's a pretty tough wrestler anyway, so
right.
That should be pretty good weight. Always going to be fun to watch there. 132. Got some just brutal. This is one of the toughest weights in the semi-state, and just some. I mean, you knew it was going to come. Obviously, the way that, the ranked guys. Cottingham, Ledesma, first round. Ledesma took a couple losses on Saturday, and then gets Cottingham, and then the winner gets a straight qualifier, Ricky Hawk, who's pretty tough too. So you can't, Cottingham, Ledesma, and then you don't get a match off with Hawk coming right there.
No, and Cottingham's 2-time state qualifier, so one of those guys isn't going back to Indy, which is tough.
Yeah. Going down, Matt Gimson, Gage Kelly, Elijah Chacun, and Kyle Lawson. Lawson was a state qualifier also too, so there's 2 state qualifiers from Fort Wayne not going to state.
Well, this is what you guys do. You guys like to stack all these guys in the same spots.
Yes.
Instead of spreading out against several weights, you guys just like, you know what? Let's all get all of our state qualifiers at 132.
Yeah. So that's going to be a good one there. Pretty just.
Ooh, Kraus taking those 2 over Mendez, going against the rankings. I like it.
He's going to be one state champion. Come on, Kraus. Jeez.
Gimson's a monster, man. He's so good.
Yeah.
And not only is he good, he's like extra exciting to watch too. So.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. They get after it. I like watching their YouTube.
I think Chacon had some really good wins this year too.
Yeah, Chacon's pretty tough. He's real good on top. And at regional, I mean, he'd beaten Hawk a couple times, so kind of we're preparing more to wrestle him. But Hawk got the better of him this time, so we didn't get to see him in the finals. So that should be good.
Yeah, and I know he had a win over Javion Ross at Northmont. He had a couple of good wins, so.
Yeah,
definitely a tough one for Kyle Lawson off the bat, but I think Belmont. What was the quote that they got you on the paper? That's the Belmont Magic. Never bet against the Belmont Magic.
Yeah, the Decatur Magic. I got ripped on by the former editor. If the current sports writer guy rips on me, we're gonna have a little little talk. But yeah, because I called it Belmont Magic. You know, they always pull out some random guys, and that Lawson's coming in there with 14 losses. That's one that they're gonna have him ready, and who knows what happens. Or Belmont does that kind of stuff, so you never know. Don't overlook him, or you're gonna he'll send an undefeated Matt Gibson home.
Yeah.
And so. Like the little arguments going on here on the board, on the comments. Got Logan Mosser. Adam Central has a pretty clear-cut path. I know that Morset was in the semi-state rankings, I believe. I don't know. Seems like there's a bunch of the Morsets down there. Bottom quarter bracket is going to be pretty fun. Obviously, I have a little bit of vested interest in there. Owen Kreider comes in undefeated. Not to me, though. And then Chris Schuler. Schuler back in the Fort Wayne semi-state. Gets the hit up with the old nemesis. Carol. I know he wrestled Carol Kidd a couple times when he was at Woodlands, so that should be a good one.
Yeah.
Both of them have pretty similar styles, so that's going to be an interesting 2 seniors. And Kreider, they both are going to want to punch their ticket to state, and should be a really good match there.
Yeah. Chris Schiller had a nice stop over at East Chicago. I see the board is getting nice and going.
Yes.
This little discussion going. I'm reading that. Obviously, Chris Schiller has been there. It's 15-6 to 14-15. Kreider, and Funny story. Kreider got in because AC Everly had such a good Al Smith, and I was like, oh, so this guy can't get in the lineup because this guy, he has to be in the rankings. So still undefeated.
Our backup placed 5th at the Al Smith, and that's that was pretty telling of how good that kid is, and Kreider obviously is pretty solid too. I'd have loved to see him at the Al Smith, but due to a little bit of an injury, wasn't gonna push him back there that early. But yeah, it should be good. That's a good match. Real good weight, just top to bottom.
Carroll's trying to build that depth.
Yes. I wish we could get him into the lineup. Obviously, as a coach, that's always a bummer to see a senior that's that good.
Jamie Nelson, Newcastle, and Evansville will be on a different day.
Yes.
So he's trying to save his phone battery.
138, another just tough bracket here. Connor Gimson, and Gimson's and Watts. Everyone's gonna, like, half of the Fort Wayne Semi-State's gonna rejoice when they graduate. Hopefully they'll be at their graduation parties saying thank you. Michael White from Eastern's probably his toughest competitor there. Will Fichter, speaking of a family with about a dozen kids, he might be the last one, but I'm not gonna.
I was like shocked. I felt like he's been in the lineup forever. I was shocked when it put down Junior. I thought sure it's his Junior.
Thanks, Kraus. No comment. Fichter. There's a million of them. So it does seem like they keep. Yeah, but yeah, he's like, this one seems like he's been around for 5 or 6 years. Braxton Rodriguez, he's pretty solid. Goshen's always well coached. And Zach Bullock is, he has 11 losses, but he's wrestled some solid guys. So that should be good. Fichter had the big regional upset last year, then lost in the ticket round. Got another interesting match, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. Carroll, Reese Schrock, Tanner Sheff. Schrock has Tori Forrest from Peru, who's pretty solid too. And then AJ Dole finished like 4th at regional or something, and had a really good day, or sectional, and then had a really good day at sectional or regional, and then draws into a brutal quarter bracket.
This entire weight's pretty good. I've seen someone post that 32 and 38 are both really good. 38's really good here too.
Yeah, and then you have Nick Buchanan, Dylan Gowdy. That's going to be a barn burner. Buchanan's 5 losses are pretty solid. A couple at the Al Smith. One's to Chef. One's to Gimson. He's decent. Was a state placer last year in Michigan. So you got 2. We got a state guy staying home in Fort Wayne. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting quarter bracket. Just loaded bracket. Obviously, I know for my kid coming in as champion, we knew you have Chef and you have Buchanan coming out as 2 and 3. So you had one good draw. So that's going to be a good weight class to watch, top to bottom there.
Yeah, not only are you getting like guys that are state experienced, you're getting like top 10 guys.
Yeah, yes.
like all these top 10 guys.
That's the way we do it in Fort Wayne.
Yeah. 11, 7, 6, 20, and 3. Like 38 is pretty loaded there.
Yeah. You gave some love to Fort Wayne for once.
It's all going to Evansville, man, and it's whoever's getting it at that time. They don't even like. I feel like just as a side, I posted this week. Evansville's always like, we never give any love to the South, and then we're looking at like the rankings breakdown from Indy Sports Fan. I'm like, everyone's ranked in Evansville. What are they talking about?
Managers are ranked there.
Yeah.
145. Going to be a good one. Jake Jenkins up top. Josh Beeks, Cortland Smith's been around. I know he's pretty solid there. You got Ryan Rassler. Rassler and Jenkins wrestled, and Jenkins beat Rassler earlier in the year. Pretty solid quarter bracket for Rassler. He's got Jordan Stricker and Aaron McKinley. Pretty solid guys that they'll see each other. And then Logan Macklin and Adam Hooley. There's a lot of Hoolies. So that should be a good quarter bracket. And then bottom quarter, Three semi-state ranked guys, then a Carroll kid. I pinned him also. Titus Morissette, that's probably the Morissette I was thinking of. Tyler Jones from Monroe Central. Saylor, he was a semi-state qualifier last year, and then Shane Tierney from West Noble. That's a really wide open quarter bracket. Obviously, for my kid, that looks really good. To be put in there compared to the other quarter brackets where you could have drawn into Macklin or Rassler. So that's a pretty wide open weight. I think a lot of guys are very close to each other. And it's going to be who's wrestling well closer, wrestling well this week.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting. Guys like Rassler has been around for a long time. Jake Jenkins had a good season. He's had a really good season. Macklin, I feel like another guy that's been around forever. So definitely a very solid weight there.
Yep. 152. I think the bracket gods did a pretty good job separating. I mean, almost like if you'd want to seed this weight, you got Isaiah Levitz up top. Obviously, Levitz, you are in for 6 minutes of just you don't know what they're going to throw at you. They're going to stop wrestling, and they're not fun to coach against. They're not fun to wrestle, and because they will try just random crazy stuff.
They are fun to watch.
Yes, they are. Gage Stuckman, Norwell, Shuckman. And then going down, you got Ethan Hicks, class of the field. You got Brody Porter from Eastern, who only has 2 losses as a freshman. Kid that might be one to watch in the next couple years. Eastern always produces some solid kids that you don't really pay attention to until they're really good. Then Thomas.
Yeah, he's a tough one right off the bat with Hemmelgarn.
Yeah, Hemmelgarn's pretty tough too there. Another family. And Fort Wayne is all about the families. They just keep producing kids.
Population up.
Yes. So Hemmelgarn, his brother was really big from what I heard. On the other side, you got Hayden Prater from Rochester. Cody McCune's pretty solid. And then bottom quarter, you got 2 ranked guys. You got Eric Heestand and then Camden Goring. Should be a pretty solid match there. Heestand's wrestling well right now.
Yeah. I think Camden Goring's kept improving as it's going on also with I like their family a lot. They're awesome. But I didn't think that he would be the wrestler he is right now when he was a freshman. I thought I was like, oh, so he's not going to be like the really, really good one, but he's got a lot better in 2 years. And now he's really like right at that level. I know he wrestled really well with Al Smith.
Yeah. So that's a pretty solid bracket. Luckily, everyone got fairly well separated there. 160. Got to see Pedigree wrestle some good, Joe Parrish this weekend. He looked really good. That was a real good match. Those two both have really good motors. He'll have Jaden Chris from Central Noble. Not a good draw for that senior, but Pedigree's pretty solid, so that should be a good match. Drew Sailors, Jed Perry, that should be a real good one. Perry, Southern Wells kids, they're always coach against them when we were in the ACAC when I was coaching at Garrett, and they're always well coached. Solid kids, good program. Always like to cheer for them. They're out in the middle of nowhere, and they always have kids are well coached and solid kids up and down the lineup. That should be a real good ticket round match.
Yeah, he had that good win over this year over Hayden Laurie too.
Yeah,
I
believe he pinned him, didn't he?
I think so.
Jeez. Danny. Going down, Clayton Lundy from Elkhart Memorial. Joe Parrish, that's going to be a good one. Lundy's, he was a sophomore or freshman, like national runner-up or whatever, something like last year, wasn't he? He had a really good off-season. Parrish is pretty solid from Homestead. And then going down, John Rubel from Belmont. He has Zion Constable from Peru, possibly there. Any other comments there, Mike? I mean, Rubel looks to be kind of the head of the class, but he'll be pushed by quite a few guys here.
Yeah, I think this got separated pretty well also. Not overly. Pettigrew's returning state qualifier. Jaden Crisp, I know we're going to touch on it at the end, but Central Nova is going to need a guy like Jaden Crisp to get through there, knock off a Jackson Pettigrew if they're going to want to be in the team race, because they got some guys that can score a lot of points also.
Yeah, they do. So that's a big match for them, not only for the kid personally, but also for the team race. At the top, some Clayton Fielden from Garrett. He's decent, I guess. Luke Lechner from Western. That should Fielden's looking real good. He's pretty sharp and he's really hungry. Overcoming some really poor coaching. That's all I gotta say. Luckily, his dad knows a thing or two about wrestling. Has taught him everything he knows. Just waiting for that Nick Krause comment. Parker Bates and Dalton Moore. That's going to be a real good match. Dalton went to Disney with us. I was very impressed with him. Great kid, great family. Really bad hair. So that should be a real good match. One of Fielden's losses is to Bates on a slam call, unnecessary roughness. So glad to see Bates is wrestling there. That should be interesting. That should be a good match. That's a good top half of the bracket. I know Moore's lost to Gilbreth more than a dozen times here. So hopefully, that's going to be probably the best quarter bracket match there. Moore was a state qualifier last year. Gilbreth, and then you got Christian Somerset. Jumped all the way to 82 from I think 132, I believe.
Really?
Yes. So
that's a good jump. I'm sure Caleb Sprunger will be texting us and letting us know.
Yes.
Or Wyatt Miller, is he still lurking around?
Yeah. So no, that should be a real good match there. Gilbreth has had a pretty solid season. Going down, you got a bunch of semi-state ranked guys: Jaden Miller, Bryce Buxley, another Eastern kid, and then Jacob Fletcher from Leo. Seen both Miller and Fletcher. They're both pretty solid. So that should be a good quarter bracket. Pretty well separated here, other than I'd say the Moore Bates. They could have probably been on somewhere else, but pretty good bracket here. What are you thinking here?
I was really impressed with Fielden at Al Smith, and then I thought he wrestled. He wrestled with Blue Ball really tough.
Oh, he gave South a real good match.
And I remember I think you guys were like, oh man, he's gonna go down to 60, and I was like, dude, that dude is pretty big, and he weighed in light there, right? And he's pretty impressive. I know that he's been looking to punch that ticket. I remember when we did the class rankings, he's got an All-American, right?
Yep. Yeah, he was a Fargo semifinalist after his freshman year.
So he hasn't gotten a state yet, but I think he has a pretty favorable draw there. I was really impressed with him. I think that the people that haven't seen him wrestle this year are going to be impressed when they see him.
Wow, we're getting some Poppy love here. 182.
It used to be all the East Chicago guys. Now it's Fort Wayne going crazy on here.
Yeah, obviously they're going to bed. The East Chicago guys. Another good weight here. You got Mason Winter, 2 times Did he win semi-state last year? No.
I didn't think so.
No, he did not. 2-time state placer though. Obviously he wins a lot, hence his name. He's pretty solid.
I got to see his creepy mascot.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Dane didn't give me a good picture. He's fired.
Man, I was gonna get you one. So Hobart has a statue too. It's a big bricky. I was gonna send it to you. Like, look at this guy. So I didn't take it. I was busy.
The Jay County one is scary because it's like 15 feet tall, and that's not fun to watch. Look at. I've never been to Portland since then. I'm just afraid that thing's gonna be tearing through the town when it gets angry and someone angers him. So. Or he might be angry because I'm coming to town because I always call it J-Tucky. So 182. Mason Winter, obviously not quite the favorite, but it's going to be a good match. But Justin McDonald, Wayne, he's a big athletic kid. Bradley Rossman's had a real good year this year, 38-1. Brandon Bergman from Lakeland. And you got Austin Leach from Garrett. another kid overcoming really bad coaching. Um, and then that's a pretty open quarter bracket. Garrett Hetzner from Eastern, then Monty Hill from Adams Central. Adams Central has a lot of kids there, especially for a small school. And then you got a state qualifier going home. It's Fort Wayne. Jake Lone was a placer last year, and then Kyler Funk was a state qualifier. That's going to be a pretty tough first or ticket round match. And then Lone has dealt one of winners' losses is to Lone, so they meet in the finals for that second match possibly.
Yeah. Congratulations to Garrett Hetzner. He was the only person through the regional that eliminated. The Bricky statue is just I can't see it all. Garrett Hetzner of Eastern was the only person that eliminated a state-ranked guy through the regional. So
yeah,
congratulations to him.
It looks like that weight's fairly well separated. Obviously, Funk and Lone's going to be a good match. Funk's kind of will go after you. I know he won last year at semi-state. He won a couple real close matches and just pulled through at the right time, so that should be a good one. Moving down, 195. Charlie Agnew, John Messer. Agnew, if you have not seen him, he's very athletic, very smooth on his feet. Really enjoy watching him wrestle as long as he's not beating one of my kids. So that's he's real tough and definitely earns that number 3 ranking in the state. Then you got another one that's going to be very interesting, Chandler Chapman and Victor Lee in that quarter bracket. Chapman didn't wrestle most of the season, wrestling real well right now. I know he went to Disney with us, only wrestled one match because he got hurt, but he's pretty solid from everything I've seen. And seen him working out with us a little bit. A real good kid. Victor Lee, obviously we've had a story on him. Very good, great kid, and definitely pretty tough here. That's gonna be a pretty tough ticket round match. And then you got Cale Gray, the Big Al Ives, and then what's the Northridge kid's coach?
Ibrahim Couchka.
Couchka, and he's kind of come on. Both him and his brother are pretty solid. It sounds like it's interesting quarter bracket. Gray's pretty solid. Had a real good season so far. And then you got 2 ranked guys hitting in the bottom half. Stuart Mossholder had a real good season so far. And then Andrew Abbott, he is about really short and stocky, pretty solid wrestler. Tristan Marks, that should be a real good. That's a 5 and 6 in the semi-state wrestling in the first round. So that's a real good quarter bracket there.
Yeah, obviously, I'm pulling for the Muncie Central guys. Got my guy AJ Bradley over there. Trying to see him in the Parade of Champions. But Moss Holders had a good year. Cale Gray's had some really good wins, really good season. I thought more than anything, the Couchka kid. I seen him at the Al Smith. He plays at the Al Smith. Super nice kid, extra polite kid. A lot of guys just let me butcher their name and go with it. And he came over and said, "Hey, man, I need to stop this. This is how it's pronounced, and this is how it's done." And I like that. I respect that.
Yeah. No, I think that was his brother that placed at the Al Smith, but I don't think he made the semi-state, which is interesting. I think the 220 was the one that placed. So.
Victor Lee, obviously, that was a great story. We were able to, highlight that. That's a kid you pull for. When you read stuff like that, that's a kid that you want to see succeed.
Yep. So it should be some real good matches there. Not really too many death draws, but some real good. Just overall, I think that's a fairly deep weight class. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that shakes out. Mossholder, Gray, Ives, Abbott, Chapman, Agnew, probably a little bit of the class, I'd say, but that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be a good tournament there, or bracket. 220, Levi Leffers, another Central Noble kid. Really tough. He went to Disney with us. Speaking of, real good kid. Liked having him. He's kind of fun. Him and Keegan Miller, the neck rivalry. The Eastside Central Noble neck rivalry. Miller has had a good couple weeks. Came out in one sectional, ended up getting 3rd at regional. So real good weight class at our sectional and regional. And you got Reese Wicker, Jashawn Berlagia from Adams Central. Two small school kids. That should be a good match. I'm sure they probably may have met on the football field once or twice. That should be a good match there. And then Justin Salmons is pretty solid also. So even though he's not ranked, we've seen him a couple times. Jaden Elwood from Leo has a pretty favorable draw. He's had some good wins this year.
He beat Leffers.
Yep. Yes, he is Leffers' only loss. Probably going too fast for people on my thing behind me. Right here. And then bottom quarter bracket is kind of wide open. You got Fred Durbin from Oak Hill. He kind of got the Braden Erb capitalized on. He didn't wrestle. Christian Graff's pretty solid. That's an interesting quarter bracket there. And then Kevin Hartman's had some good wins. I believe he's beaten, I want to say Wicker or Miller. I can't remember, but another neck. The NECC was pretty solid at 220. Obviously, you can tell right there. So
I thought you were saying neck rivalry. I said I don't even know what that is. That must be a Fort Wayne thing. That was what was Tante calling those like duels?
Quinn duels.
Quinn duel. I thought you were like, that's a neck rivalry. I said I don't even know what that is, man. I'm just gonna let it run and be like, cool, man, neck rivalry. I hear you.
It's the NECC, so you just call it the neck.
Okay. I had no clue. I thought like these dudes were like hanging on each other's heads.
It's the NECC. You got to know that. That's my old stomping grounds. The neck. I was a neck finalist, 2-timer.
Yeah. I left the state finals last year thinking that Jaden or Levi Leffers could be a state champ. I thought that he looked really good at 220. I still think he could be a state champ, honestly. I think 220 is one of those weights that's wide open. I was surprised early on when he lost to Jaden Elwood, but obviously Jaden Elwood's put a nice season together. I think Leffers beat him after that in the rematch. I think Elwood took a loss. Where are they at over Christmas? They're at Northmont also?
Yeah, they're at Northmont.
And that Northmont 220 was loaded with Drew Webster and
Irick.
Irick
and Cornwell. And then So he's wrestled some good kids. So that's gonna be a fun weight to watch. Obviously, the possible rubber match between Leffers and Elwood, but there's no guarantees they'll get to each other in the finals. Might be for third. You never know with this. This is a pretty solid weight here. So
yeah. Like I said, last year leaving the state finals, generally your first impression is like your best impression. I thought Levi Leffers would be their first state title, and there's only a couple times I was like, maybe not. Like when I seen that Eli Picorni was winning at 220, I was like, oh, okay, now Eli Picorni is the state champ at 220. And then now he's injured. So.
Yep. 285, the big guys. This is gonna be a fun weight. I think it's a fun weight all across the state because there's a lot of guys that haven't really proven themselves, on the state level yet. So it's going to be fun to watch. You got Holden Parsons up top. He was a returning semi-state champ. Lost Friday night last year. 2 losses. One is to the guy Bowman on the bottom half of the bracket. Mike, you probably might know who the other one is to.
Connorsville kid. Oh. He lost to the Connorsville kid.
Okay, so he lost. Didn't he lose to the Ben Davis?
Then he didn't. He lost to the Connorsville kid for sure.
Okay. I thought he lost to the Ben Davis kid.
But maybe he does. Maybe he has more than 2 losses.
Yeah, maybe these brackets are wrong.
No, he lost to Zach McQueen for sure of Connorsville. Okay. That was his first loss of the year.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking somebody else. But yeah, Parsons is pretty solid, and then you got some big sophomore from Carroll. Muncie's been wrestling really well. Avenged early season loss the last 2 weeks to the Eastside kid Chase Leaper. Leaper's pretty solid. Muncie has a pretty navigatable path. I've been trying to figure out who some of these guys are. AJ Jones is a real big farm boy from Madison Grant. His dream job is a farmer. 100% sure. So, big kids.
Is that a true fact, or are you just stereotyping?
Nope, that is a true fact. Doing some
I didn't
trying
know
to
if you
figure out who
talked to
this
him.
kid
Give
is.
him a
I
good
came
answer.
across a bio sheet, and that's what his future job is. So
Good, man. We need farmers.
yes, we do.
North Montgomery. Daryl Porter hates that I say Northmont. I said that is not. It's like saying Fort Wayne Carroll to those guys.
Nice. Going down, Adam Bowman, undefeated, really good season. He's a big heavyweight. That should be good. Him and Andre Hughes. Hughes is a big heavyweight. He's a little bit more shorter and stockier. Bowman is tall and big. That should be an interesting match. And then the Giant Slayer, Nolan Hathaway, way tougher than his brother, or his dad, I mean. Way tougher. His dad played basketball in high school. He was So, Hathaway was a Giant Slayer, was a 4, beat a pretty good Snyder kid Saturday morning. So that should be a pretty decent quarter bracket, but Bowman is absolutely ginormous. And then you got Vince Yoder, Grant Wormuth, and then Logan Swallow and Chase Leeper. Yoder and Leeper, the neck rivalry.
Misspelled.
What?
I thought someone just posted that we misspelled it.
Misspelled what?
It's spelled right on there.
What?
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I just seen someone post it on the comments.
There's a leper at 220 or at 170. I mean, that's from Carroll. It's spelled correctly. That says Leeper. You probably just can't read it correctly. But what's your comments here? Should be some pretty solid wrestling.
Yeah, obviously Holden Parsons, returning semi-state champ. He had a bunch of stuff. He had a couple weird losses. Like I said, the Connersville kid. I don't know if it's a weird loss. I don't have a lot of information on him. I'm still waiting on my Connersville Spartan Invite Classic.
Brackets.
Yeah. Brian Bergman, Lakeland, obviously he was there last year. I think someone just put that as an overtime match. Not even Joe. Joe wasn't even the one that told me this, but someone told me that they believe that Reeves Muncie's going to either play in the NFL someday or he's going to be a state champ. Big athletic kid. I think that's like a huge jump from 220. And I remember early on when we were doing the preseason rankings, I was like, oh, is he going to be back at 220? And Joe's like, no. I was like, oh, bad move. And then I seen him at the Al Smith. I was like, oh, it's because he's huge.
Yes, he put on the freshman 40.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Madison Grant, 31-2. I'm betting he's pretty strong.
Yes, he's a
Generally,
big kid.
kids that want to be farmers are pretty strong.
the human hay baler.
Yeah. Adam Bowman, 34-0. Keenan Perkins was an Al Smith placer also, correct?
Yes, he was.
I thought that he wrestled really well there. I haven't seen Bowman. I see his record. I know that I've talked to you about him. I know he beat Reeves. Keenan Perkins is not a guy to sleep on early on.
Yeah. No, if he, heck, you want to say coming off the scale for a heavyweight, but obviously it's going to be a long first round. But yeah, I'm pretty certain Bowman pushes that 285 limit. I know Leeper was 3 pounds or 4. He was like 5 pounds, 4 or 5 pounds underweight. So he obviously Leeper's a big kid too. So there's some meat going to be on the mats at Fort Wayne. Hopefully,
some big guys.
Yes,
and I feel like Vince Yoder's a guy that's been in the mix for a long time too. I feel like he's been around.
Yep, I know Jesse wrestled him in the ticket round a couple years ago. I think he was in the ticket round last year. So yeah, he's right in the mix. Obviously, Leeper has beaten him a couple times this year. So he's looking for that revenge in the more important match. So yeah, it's heavyweight's gonna be fun to watch, and not only, I think this is kind of indicative of the whole state. Just a lot of guys you can talk about, and it might be someone that we're not even talking about comes away with a semi-state title. So
right, and I think that was one of the things early on, especially with heavyweight. And I don't think it's as much like state credentials. Obviously that helps, but like result wise, I don't think it's like they're like not super spaced out. Like they trade losses, especially at like the Mooresville regional. There was a lot of guys that were trading losses over there. So it's definitely pretty good.
Yeah. Team race. That's going to be very interesting, to say the least. I've been trying to do the calculations, see where personally where Carroll's going to fit. Teams have a lot of guys coming through. I know Central Noble has 7. Carroll has 9. Adams Central has 9. A lot of teams have quite a few guys. Hold on, I'm gonna be able to pull up my brackets real quick. That way we can look at this.
You got it filled out?
No, no. Just pull up the semi-state, the track wrestling ones. Even though they're not open, you can see what teams have a lot. Yeah, Adams Central with 9. Carroll, Central Noble with 7. Eastern has 8 guys, and they have pretty solid guys. Garrett is bringing 7. Huntington North 8. Leo 6. Northridge 6. Norwell and Oak Hill have 7. Western with 7. And I think that is all. But yeah, a lot of teams with, no one's really sticking out. Obviously the Yorktown is one to watch. They've won it like a million years in a row, but they usually do it with 3 or 4 really good kids. Now they have 3 guys that I'm saying they're pretty good, but they're not all guaranteed championships. What did you say?
How many is Yorktown bringing? 5?
Yes, I believe 5. Yeah, they have 5 coming in. So that's going to be interesting. Jimtown's going to be one to watch because they're going to have the 3 hammers, Gimsons and Watts, who could all be champions, very well could be champions, and that's a lot of points. They could win it with 3 guys, and other teams qualify 5 or 6, and they're looking like, oh wow, we if they don't have a champ or some guys in the finals, it's going to be interesting there. I know Carroll and Central Noble have a couple matches at 32 and 38. That's going to be very, that's going to set the tone for either of those teams to, have a chance to win it. So that's, I know talking to our kids, it's, that's huge, getting those matches, and obviously just getting to state, but then also knocking out a team that has a chance to win it. Yeah, but it's going to be an interesting team race. I'm kind of interested in seeing it. I know Adams Central's bringing a lot. They don't have quite the hammers or the guys that you're going to see that you're saying, okay, this guy's going to be in the finals. But they do have some really good kids and some solid jaws. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch as a coach and competitor. I'd rather be a fan and not have the stress of it on me, but it should be fun.
Yeah, that's probably the best part of what I do, is I just get to hang out and watch. Yeah, I agree. It seems like the teams that are bringing the best guys are going to be right in the mix. I'm reading all the comments as it goes on, and I agree. It's going to, Jimtown's going to make a run. They're going to need some of those. They're going to need a guy probably like Keenan Perkins, maybe make some noise, pull off some upsets. Central Noble has a good run. It's going to be tough, like you said. It's going to be kind of decided. If Schiller and Scoff lose right there at 32 and 38, that's going to be a downer for their day. I think Leffers is right there. Ocampos is wrestling well. Even like a Belmont, you can get an Isaac Rubel going, and maybe if you can get a couple upsets here or there, I would assume the Rubel brothers are going to do pretty well. Losing a guy like Caden Freed early on in the season hurts them.
Yeah, they could definitely be in the mix if they had Freed, because Freed's 182, he's right in that mix there. So that would be interesting to see if they were, obviously ifs, ands, and buts. Yeah, so that, I'm just trying to, how much those champions can bring a lot of points, and you got, in all honesty, you got to look at, even the second tier guys that might not make the finals or might not qualify, but they get a couple wins? Can some of those guys that aren't the guys that are going to state, if they can pull a couple wins, maybe get some bonus points and pins, that's gonna, especially in a close race like that, that's gonna be huge. Just being able to get those guys
and
through.
Obviously you guys are in the mix too, and I see everyone kind of posting that. I know you're being kind of modest, and it's tough for you to get on there and do this and say, yeah, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna do this and that. But you guys got the guys too, Nick's right, and Hicks, Kreider, Muncie, those are guys that could be right there. And it helps. How many do you guys have going?
We have 9. So yeah,
9.
we have the
having 9 kids in the room still is pretty good. Yeah, no, Dennis Bradley's right. Losing Kunkel did hurt Central Noble.
Yeah,
that was a guy that's right there.
I would say if Kunkel's there, I would probably be starting to put my money on Central Noble. That's big points. That's 20 points they're losing right there, and that's enough to make a huge difference. I mean, I'm looking at the points from last year. Braden Curtis scored 28 points for Yorktown last year. You're getting 20 points if you're getting a champion and winning all by decisions. So if a guy's a champion, he's probably going to get a pin at least once, or at least get 1 or 2 bonus points. So you're talking 20 points. You're looking at 60 points out of Jimtown. And
my brother's watching. It's his birthday today.
Nice.
So, I just seen it came on. Tony Reiser's watching. Happy birthday to him.
Yeah. And I'm last year's scoring Jimtown with 3 guys that scored points. Watson, Gibson's, they scored 70. So that might be enough. I mean, just looking at how things shake out. So so that should be. It's going to be interesting. It'd be a bummer. The way the tournament is, maybe we get 7 guys a state, which would be great, and then lose to Jimtown, who gets 3. That'd eat at me for the system, but at the same time, that's the way it is, and that could very well be it because they're going to have the champs. So,
right.
That's one of those things. We're not getting 7 to state, but I just wanted to be crazy like that. But still, I mean, 70 points is a lot of points, and especially those 3 are going to get bonus, which is huge. They scored.
It's very similar to what we were saying at the East Chicago. Maryville could get 7 guys, but if you don't have the guys that are going to be in the championship match with, the guys like, Brooks and Alexander or Mendez and Bedich and those guys, it is difficult to win.
Yeah, and you got to have things go your way. Obviously, draws got to mesh up. I know Central Noble obviously has some tough draws, and even their second tier kids might win that first round match, which could be the difference. But you got to get everyone wrestling, and it's going to be a fun day, team wise, to watch. It's because there's a lot of good teams, a lot of teams that that everyone sees that this is an open year. We don't have the dominant Yorktown team, so everyone's licking their chops right now, saying we can get a semi-state title. We can get a semi-state title. I'm sure Central Noble, Jimtown, Carroll, even Yorktown, they have 3 guys that are pretty darn good that could easily be in the championship and in the finals. So they, that's all you need. Obviously, you score 70 points, that might be enough. So it should be interesting.
Yeah. And for everyone that was talking about Yorktown being so down, that would be one of those things kind of thumb your nose at, right?
Yeah, yes. So, I mean, like you said, Jimtown has 3 guys. They scored 70 points last year. Let's see. Curtis scored 28. Parsons 22. That's 50. And then Stan scored 22. There's 70 right there, 72. So they could easily duplicate that this year.
Right.
Which would be.
I'd be willing to bet. I mean, it's never easy, but I would say Curtis is probably a little bit more difficult this year. I mean, that could be the semi-state championship match for the team.
Yeah.
Could be Curtis Watts.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we could be sitting here at Carroll and Central Noble and Adam Central. We could all be cheering for one of those teams. Hey, Jimtown's in the lead, so we need to be really cheering for Curtis to win. Because Yorktown's 3rd or 4th. So that could be one of those things that you're cheering for the kid based on giving your team a shot. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I think it's going to come down to the last few weights. Obviously, Central Noble has Leffers. We have Muncie, and Jimtown obviously has their heavyweight that's having a good season if he does well. Gets in the late hours. So. Yeah, it's going to be fun. That's one of the interesting things I knew going into state this year. I was like, it's going to be interesting. Yorktown's, they're not going to quite let go of the reins, but they, everyone wants to get a crack when you have a chance like that.
Everyone could come down and be a Adam Bowman fan if it's you guys and someone tight, right?
Yes.
If it's Central Noble and you guys come down the wire and it's Adam Bowman versus Muncie, everyone's going to be an Adam Bowman fan.
Yep, and the last time it was the ultimate sudden victory, too, so that would be I don't want it to be that way.
You feel like it's like reverse osmosis? You'll grow hair?
No.
Like some
I
people
wish.
lose it, you'll just grow it.
Yeah, I wish I could. My heart's racing just thinking about knowing we need those 4 points, and that's a semi-state title, and not only is you got a baby, he's a sophomore, I couldn't even think about that.
Right.
And then you're gonna have those other teams, 3 or 4 other teams rooting against your guy, so it's gonna be they're all gonna be mat side cheering for every little, every time a heavyweight flinches, they're gonna start cheering. But yeah.
And I think that one of the tougher things about Fort Wayne is like how unpredictable it is. Like I think the last couple of years I've beaten Spires there, and I feel like because he has like all that information, and I feel like Fort Wayne's very unpredictable. There'll be matches you just like scratch your head at and be like, wow, I did not see that one coming.
Yeah, definitely. Fort Wayne always has a few crazy matches, and that's what happens there. So with that, we've been blabbling for quite a while. We will be back probably, I'd say Wednesday, if I would have to guess. We'll post it on the board and Twitter and all that stuff. Talk more about the South, Newcastle and Evansville. So should be some good talking. So any other last parting words?
Nope, don't have anything, man. Happy birthday, my brother. I see you turned on.
Yes, nice. So, well, we will let you guys go, and we'll be back on Wednesday.